Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Sim Awesome. Now, I hope you are great. In the midst of all the chaos going on, Dearborn, Michigans, Muslims, Arabs, Somalis, and all that, I will be showing you something that will make you understand that some people actually knew what they were doing. Some people voted last election with so much emotion, sentiment, and all that. I remember a video that a woman said, do not vote for Kamala Harris. Vote for Jay Stein or Donald Trump. And they actually went ahead and voted for this man. I remember when they were endorsing the man, they endorsed him and said that he promised them peace. He said he promised them peace. All right. And now their peace of mind is now their pieces of mind. Clock it. Am I sorry? I don't think I'm sorry for the people that voted for this administration, but I feel really sorry for the ones that voted right. And they are also going to be in this mess. Why? Because maybe their loved one or someone very close to them will be going through it. And another one is when they want to profile you, they can even profile the one with papers and all that. Before you will now gain freedom, you might have spent how many days or how many days in their den. That is how bad it is. You guys showed us who you are last year, and we see you. We know what you can do and what you cannot. Let's get into this video.
Now, I might say some shit that you don't like, but one thing I would never do is tell you a lie. And since people keep asking me about my thoughts on the Dearborn, Michigan situation with ICE raids and these white nationalists coming in and attacking Arab Americans, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm complicit, because I'm not. I'm conflicted. Do I personally believe they're getting what they deserve? No, because nobody should be treated like that. These are human beings. However, they are getting what they voted for. Baby, don't argue with me, argue with the numbers. They did not vote for Kamala Harris. They voted for this. They voted for Trump, knowing that Trump had a Muslim ban beforehand, knowing that Trump and the entire Republican Party was saying that they would turn Gaza into a parking lot.
September 11 was our darkest hour. October 7 was Israel's darkest hour. They are our best friend. And the Palestinians are taught to kill us at 2 years old. They won't let a Palestinian in Jordan. They won't let a Palestinian in Egypt. And Harris wants to bring them to you. I'm on the side of Israel. You're on the side of Israel. Donald Trump's on the side of Israel. And they're on the side of the terrorists.
And if you honestly believe that they didn't know that this would be their result, just listen to what came out of their mouths.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of a Trump presidency. In fact, I feel like if it does happen, then there's going to be bigger momentum to confront the genocide.
The other question is, how can you ask black people for advocacy when these same folks say we're not welcome in their communities?
If you don't want to vote for Jill, vote for Donald Trump. But do not give a vote to Kamala Harris and expect to be welcomed by my community.
They said they would rather vote for Satan than harm reduction.
We are going to do everything in our power to make sure Kamala Harris doesn't win. Vote for, if you want Donald Trump to win, say that. Bitch, I will vote for Satan if I have to.
But speaking of harm, how do we stand in solidarity with a group of individuals who actually wished for harm for us, who said that they don't care about how oppressed we are, and in fact inflicted harm? Oh, baby, you gonna hate me when I pull this receipt. Back in November of 2023, there was a Democratic holiday party in Michigan where pro-Palestinian protesters bum rushed a building that they were not invited to and assaulted a black woman activist and put her in the hospital.
There were no arrests in the chaos that broke out here at the Common Pub near Wayne State Saturday night, but there was an assault that was caught on cell phone camera. Bobby Johnson is the woman who was punched in the face by a protester, leaving her bloody. The protesters were being pushed out as when one of them punched Johnson in the face. Some then proceeded to bang on the windows from the outside.
They had their boots and shoes bamming up against the windows. You can imagine how that sound and how fearful that the people were, especially the senior people that was there.
Wayne State Police were first to arrive and were told they moved them back and assisted in getting Johnson transported to the nearby hospital.
Look, I ain't telling people what to do or how to feel, but I'm going to tell you what's real. I believe in standing in solidarity with communities, particularly marginalized communities, to come up with a common goal and purpose. But however, I can't stand in solidarity with people who might stab me. I'm not saying all of them are violent or irrational, because there was some particular Arab American groups who actually endorsed Kamala Harris that were in Michigan. There are some who actually listened to the Palestinians in Gaza that wanted Kamala to win over Trump. However, we're not going to act like black people don't have the right to have pause when we were bombarded and the reciprocants of the anti-blackness and the harassment. They called us genociders, baby killers. Look, I want our communities to come together for a common goal and purpose, but however, there needs to be a reconciliation. There needs to be an apology on how y'all treated black people during this past election. When we warned you, you didn't want to listen. When we told you what was to come, you called us crazy. When we told you Trump was lying to you, you didn't want to hear us, boo. But you took it to another extreme with harassment. You took it to another extreme with voting for this fucking felon in chief. You took it a step further, voting for Donald Trump, thinking that we would suffer, thinking that you were going to teach us a lesson, when the only lesson that was learned is white supremacy comes with an expense. Have you ever heard of the phrase, the grave that you're digging for me, you're only digging for yourself? And as much as people want me to punch down and tell you to go fuck yourself, that's just not in me. I've never been that selfish. So I'm going to call out ICE. I'm going to call out the white supremacists, but don't get it twisted, babe. This ain't for you, okay? Because I understand these words when they say that nobody's free until all of us are free and all of us are interconnected and chained together. I understand that if you sink, I'm going to be sinking along with you. And I know that sitting on the sidelines while others suffer won't set me free.
I came home the day I met Trump, and I gave my son a MAGA hat, and I said, I guess we're there. And he said, ew. His first words to me were, ew. I said, but Baba, he said he's gonna stop the war. And he said, okay, that's it. Give me that hat. We're voting for Trump. And that's the sentiment, not just of an 8-year-old, but of an entire community. If you're gonna stop the war, even if I don't like you, I'm on your team.
Good afternoon, Michiganders. As the president said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace.
He banned you from the country. He signed an executive order banning Muslims from 7 predominantly Muslim countries around the world. You are the only group in the entire United States of America that was specifically targeted and discriminated against and prevented to come into the country. The only specific group. No one else. Not even Mexico. No one else. He didn't want you here. To the point where Amnesty International created a group to create awareness of it. Am I in an alternate reality? Oh, que tenga buen día.
Arab American communities are being heavily targeted by ICE right now. Multiple sources are saying that ICE has increased its presence in cities like Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. Cities known for having massive Lebanese and Yemeni populations, so you can imagine why they're being targeted. Multiple community members, including longtime business owners, fathers, and religious leaders, have been detained and placed into deportation proceedings within the last few weeks, with at least one confirmed case of a deportation back to Lebanon, which, mind you, is a war zone. And among the detained are people with legal issues going back decades, some as old as 30 years ago. Many of them being nonviolent offenses, mind you. They are looking for any and every reason to rip people out of their homes and take them away from their families. Now, while the pro-Israel motivations are certainly clear, you might not know this is also being used for the U.S. to turn a profit. A private, for-profit prison group actually just obtained a contract with ICE to reopen a shuttered prison in Michigan specifically to hold these Arab American detainees. Now, this has obviously sparked massive concerns with civil rights advocates, but the group is more concerned with its $70 million in annual profit that it can make off of our detention. $70 million per year. This is a long-term, multi-year contract. They are planning to massively ramp up this inhumane detention and detainment. And they're going to increase their targeting of immigrants in the general population. So if you live in Michigan in the Dearborn Heights area, you need to be careful. No matter your immigration status, you need to be careful here and you need to be careful abroad. Because many recent travelers have been denied re-entry to the U.S. simply for where they traveled to or for content that was on their phones. You can have your phone searched and seized by ICE even if you are a U.S. citizen. So for people in the Dearborn community who annually go back to Lebanon in the summers, you need to be careful. For people who are sending money overseas to a sick relative, you need to be careful. For people simply voicing a political opinion online about the situation overseas, you need to be careful. Dearborn and other Arab communities within the United States are massively at risk right now. You need to protect your...
How can you possibly be so surprised that the leopards are eating your face? When we told you what the leopards would do if the leopards won that race. We said they would eat you, but you didn't listen, and now you and your family aren't safe. Somehow you believe that the leopards wouldn't eat you, but will only be eating the people you hate. And none of you have even apologized or admitted that you were wrong, now that you found that this isn't the case. You thought you could control the leopards and sick them on black people and the LGBTQIA. You were comfortable with the promise that they'd eat everyone else. For that, you turn and look away. Now it's time to look straight ahead into the mouths of the leopards that you voted for and realize you deserve this day.
I'm wondering how all the Muslim community in like Dearborn, Michigan and stuff that were like backing Donald Trump and he's gonna end the war in Gaza and all that. I wonder how they're feeling now, seeing that Trump is saying that we're going to own the Gaza Strip and we're gonna send troops in there to level it out and clean it up, create jobs. Only the area's not gonna have Palestinians on it. He wants them to go to Egypt and Jordan and other neighboring countries. You know, at least Kamala Harris wanted a 2-state solution. But, you know, Donald Trump's gonna end the war. Yeah, he is. He's going to ethnically cleanse the area of Palestinians. That's what he's wanted to do from the beginning. And he tricked a lot of you into voting for him, thinking that he was going to do good there. Don't you feel dumb?
So let me tell you why I think the Supreme Court of the United States will side with Trump with all of this denaturalization and immigration, especially the Somalis in Minnesota and the Arabs in Dearborn and elsewhere in the country. In the preamble to the Constitution, one of the things that's in there says, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Now, I remember Trump tweeting about the same domestic tranquility. And the people that are in question here in the United States, undocumented, the Islamists who are, I have seen videos where they say, you say anything about the prophet, we'll kill you. the thieves, the Somalis, $300 million, stealing money from the federal government. All of these people on SNAP and every government assistance. The Supreme Court is going to side with him because there is an upheaval in the country where the United States have allowed people to come here, not monitor them, allowed them to all stay in one place and not move them all across the United States. And now it's a problem because they're trying to change the culture of the United States. And the Constitution has already said what our culture is. Domestic tranquility, and we don't have domestic tranquility. So yeah, I really believe that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to side with him.
We need to talk about the way that we talk about Dearborn, Michigan. So there's a sentiment that has been going around, and I do understand it. I understand the idea that these people voted in a way that hurt all of us. And now they are getting blowback. And there are people that are saying, well, you fuck around, you find out. And you know what? You're right. I desperately wish that these folks had voted for Kamala. But I fear we are losing touch with our humanity when this is the response. A lot of these people voted for Trump. A lot of these people went out of their way to tell people not to vote for Kamala. You can feel however you want to feel about them, I guess. But that wasn't everybody. Those were the loudest voices, not all voices. But a lot of these people just felt disenfranchised. They felt unheard. They were unheard by Democrats. And someone walked in and said, I'll listen to you. Yeah, they were lying. That guy was lying, and we all said that guy was lying. But he went to them, and he said, I hear you. Democrats sent Bill Clinton to lecture them. You can feel however you want to feel about the decision that they made. But now they are just people, and they are under attack. This is not team sports. This is people's lives. And there is no way for you to sit back and cheer on what is happening in Dearborn and still call yourself a good person after. Those two things are mutually exclusive. You cannot do it. We have to find a path back to our humanity. We are losing touch with it. When we take comfort in someone else's suffering because we think they deserve it, we are becoming just like the Republicans.
Listen to how these people who voted for Donald Trump in Dearborn, Michigan now feel. It's kind of interesting.
So how do Arab American Dearborn residents who voted for Trump now feel about what they did and their pick? CNN's Danny Freeman went there to find out.
In Dearborn, Michigan, the campaigns and the candidates have gone, but the politics linger.
I think that the community is going to continue to be engaged and polarized.
In the final days of the race, Lebanese-American Albert Abbas welcomed former President Trump to his family's restaurant in Dearborn.
I, along with many others, truly appreciate that you made it a priority to visit Dearborn.
Abbas agreed to host Trump only after he pledged to bring peace to Lebanon and the Middle East.
We're very optimistic and hopeful, and quite frankly, I'm excited about a second term of a Trump presidency.
What was your reaction to some of these cabinet announcements? You see someone like Mike Huckabee as ambassador to Israel, someone like Elise Stefanik looking to go to the UN, Marco Rubio, all pretty hardline when it comes to the Middle East.
I'm not going to judge his appointees right now. We'll hold his feet to the fire once he's president.
President-elect Trump won the state of Michigan by about 80,000 votes. In the majority Arab-American city of Dearborn, Trump won with 42% of the vote, while Vice President Harris only received 36%. Jill Stein, the Green Party protest choice of many anti-war voters, got 18% of the vote here. What was the perception that you thought Donald Trump will be doing.
So as Donald Trump told us he will stop the war, but now he's putting people in office that are with the war, practically.
Galal Baidoun voted for Jill Stein. She couldn't bring herself to vote for Vice President Harris because of the Biden administration's support for Israel. But she feels Trump has already squandered his goodwill in the Arab American community. How do you feel about voting Green Party now?
I feel good that I don't have blood on my hands because, like I said, they're all with genocide. So having to be not a part of all that makes me feel good.
Do you regret not voting for Harris?
No, because she's even worse.
How are you feeling now that President-elect Trump won?
Yeah, I'd say definitely a range of emotions. Disappointed is one. Angry is another.
Lexi Zaydon is one of the leaders of the uncommitted movement and left the top of the ticket blank. She hears the criticism that voters like her helped elect Trump, but rejects it, saying they wanted Harris to work with them.
You could have added every single vote in Dearborn and Kamala still would have lost. You could have added every single Jill Stein vote across the country, Kamala still would have lost. And so this wasn't a referendum on Gaza policy. That this election was not lost because of Gaza or because of uncommitted voters. What it showed you is that she not only was sidelining uncommitted and Arab and Muslim voters, but she was sidelining other communities of color as well.
Do you have any regrets?
I have no regrets because what I did and what I believe uncommitted did in the last 10 months is we did everything we could to offer the Democratic leadership something to save this democracy and to save Palestinian lives.
Now, Jake, folks that we spoke with for this piece all acknowledge that their Arab American communities are only growing, and they're hoping that those communities are only more influential in upcoming elections. They all told me that they expect in years to come that neither party can afford to ignore them or break their promises to them. Jake?
Please explain the Muslims in Michigan doing what they're doing right now.
Muslims are now pro-Trump in Michigan, so if the Democrats lose Michigan, they have another minority group to blame, a scapegoat, right? And so that's, I think, really why there's so much coverage on these things.
Interesting.
And that's like the Trump part of it. Because on its face, it's stupid that a guy that had a Muslim ban is going to turn around and help Gaza. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, what the I mean,
no one remembers that, though.
They, I think, are just either manipulated or corrupt to even show up. Think with these, like an imam wearing with his beard like mine and his hat also like mine.
How I got from this video. I want to remind you something that I remember what these people said vividly last year. Why they all came out at Dearborn, Michigan to actually show their support for this administration. What did they say? They said that this man promised them peace and they decided to troop out en masse and voted for this administration. And now their peace of mind today is now their pieces of mind. Think about it. One thing with people is that some people know how to bring problem to themselves because these people already saw the challenges they are having. Don't tell me they did not. They knew their challenges. Muslim Americans knew that they had challenges. And the only person that promised them something tangible was Kamala Harris. You can go back to their manifestos and read their campaign listing. Kamala Harris has a detailed information about what she wants to do with every one of them. And this man did not have any plan for them, right? And now their peace of mind is actually showing them hot pepper sauce. Who is to blame? I don't know if I feel bad, but sincerely speaking, I think we should start taking accountability. Like accountability is something we should start taking. That you guys caused this by yourselves, right? That nobody helped you. That it was something that you did by yourself, for yourself, and with yourself. I've never seen people that are daft. Why I say people that are daft is that that if I put my hand on the fire, that it will burn. I will be very daft if I eventually put my hands or fingers on the fire. It will burn, and it is burning. Am I supposed to take responsibility or accountability for it? No, it is not. It's not my problem. But I feel sad for the ones that did not vote for this, because I know in the midst of chameleons, there are still good people who actually voted smartly and wisely. You guys can do better. I will draw my curtain here. Bye for now.